I'm so curious.
Well,
Like, what are your thoughts on like the subconscious mind and how you help people heal through that?
I think there's something there. There are two things that come to mind when I think of these things I've really kind of been with. It's number one, it's like you said, to know yourself, to sit down with yourself and not let the corrupt brain and the programs run, but sit with yourself and simply be introspective and see how you feel from the heart, the gut area. Does that resonate with me? Is there something there of a belief system that I can't heal that maybe I did pick up when I was a child? I was speaking to someone recently on the podcast, and they said that they had a father who they really looked up to. Big guy, he was like an army guy as well, but he was always sick with something. And so they looked up to this person, but they were always sick. And then they had that belief they would always be sick. And he looked up, of course, he admired this, but there was sickness to it. And he said he had to sit with that. And he's like, I'm getting interesting feelings about this. And it was through just exploring the feelings and being introspective. Is there a belief in me? Is that the pro? Am I thinking I'll always be sick like my father and looking up to it? Or could I look up to my father but realize he was never perfect and he had these things that I can use to my benefit to become a healthier? And he said things started going away. Symptoms just started to disappear for him. So that's my first thing, is to be really, really introspective with yourself and sit there and don't let your monkey mind jump in and be like, no, 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 but really feel things, go into nature, deep breathing, right? Get into a meditative state and feel more than think.
Yes.
My other point would be what Mother Teresa said is, don't invite me to an anti-war protest. Invite me to a pro-peace, right?
Yes.
Like an event. And it's like, well, of course, you don't want to talk about the war, just like we don't want to talk about the disease and the sickness. That's actually somewhat inconsequential to what you have to focus on, which is the positive, where you want to be, not what you're going against, right? Against is that David Hawkins power versus force. You don't want to force things. You want the power within you to guide you. So, when you put those two together, that introspection and then this intention, again, of something positive, I feel that's the best way, because you're right. Sometimes you'll never get to what was that one thing. Maybe it's generational. Maybe it's passed down genetically, and it's like something from great grandparents that's there. You won't probably get to that exact piece that happened 100 years ago that's impacting you, right? But if you reprogram to what I want to be, you could override that. What do you think? Am I
100%.
you're the guru on this, so these are just my theories.
Collaborative, but yes, I mean, I think you absolutely nailed it, right? If somebody asked me, like, do you love yourself during that time? I would be like, of course I love myself.
Right.
Of course. And then if you ask me, well, how do you love yourself? I would have to think about that. Well, do I look in the mirror and do I talk kindly to myself? No, not really. Do I take time to hug myself and every single cell in my body is alive? Do I'm like, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for all you do. Well, no, I didn't do that. Do I make time to sit with myself and see which thoughts are mine? In a world where there's so much noise, which thoughts are yours? Can you even distinguish them? Right. And there's something so beautiful about going into nature. There's studies with heart-brain coherence. And when our heart is in coherence, it's the same resonance of the earth. And that is why when you go out in nature, you feel that sense of calm, because it's either you're connecting with it or it's pulling you back into homeostasis, back into that moment. But it's really making those time. Those are all acts of self-love. And so I was like, yeah, I love myself, but I got really into, how am I loving myself? How am I making time for myself? How am I showing up to like sit with me? And that is such a big part of meditation or sitting. And meditation could be a walk on the beach, right? Anything to get out of your analytical mind and be in the present moment, enjoy. And that brings so much clarity and understanding to what is maybe coming up, like you said. And then, yes, embodying, I call it building out the character. And that is like my favorite thing to do. It's like, hey, this is the best version of me. And now I'm going to think, how does she dress? How does she walk? How does she talk? What does she eat? How does she show up in the world? If somebody calls, mentally rehearsing it, right? I believe your entire outer world is created from within, right? Your imagination, like I love the word imagine. If you break it down, it says, I'm a genie. Like you're the genie. You grant your own wishes. Your wish is your command. It's just getting really, really accepting that and then saying, I'm going to focus all my energy and attention on the highest version of myself, and I'm going to embody it now. We wait so much, not we, but people wait so much for things outside of them to change. And that was the biggest lesson for me is I had to become healthy now. I had to deny. I didn't even know what I was doing. Now I'm like, oh, okay, that's like, I can look at like Joe Dispenza's work and I'm like, that's what I was doing. I somehow innately knew it. And I believe all of us innately know it. It's just trusting that intuition, right? Prayer is speaking to source, God, intelligence, and intuition is it responding back to you. And so when you listen to those messages and those callings, it is like you said, divinely guiding you and just really taking time to be still so that you know what those messages are and when they're calling. And 100% focusing on everything you wish to experience. Like I am so crazy about this. I mean, I think it's a great thing, but my boyfriend, like even last night, he's like, let's watch Twister. I'm like, I am not watching Twister before I go to bed. Like my subconscious mind is opening.
Right.
Like he's like, come on, it's not real. I'm like, but I will make it real because I believe in the power that I have and who I am. That is everybody. And I think so many people chalk things up as like, oh, that was odd. And I'm like, no, that's God. That's you. You create, that's a coincidence. No. That is a divine synchronicity showing you what you're capable of. And so I think the moment you take your power back and like you said, then be still and focus on everything that is your dream life, your desires, and don't waver. Like you can't, obviously we're human and sometimes we fall off, but for how long? It's like you have to have an unwavering belief. Like I am healthy. I don't care what the tests say. I don't care what my body's doing. I am healthy. I am choosing this now. And I'm going to do everything I can to fall in love with my life. And I say that because you have to be at this frequency, right? Like love is like, we are vibrational beings. Like this is science, right? We're energy and there are vibrations and there are resonances and there are frequencies and they're real and they're measurable. And so where are you? You can't say like, okay, I'm going to be healthy and then return back to your life where you're just, like speaking it, right? Words matter. We're speaking things all the time on us and around us. And so you've got to really embody that character and become it, like method acting. If you're familiar with method acting, you can look at people like Heath Ledger, right? He embodied that character. It killed him, right? Leonardo DiCaprio played Howard Hughes. And he embodied having OCD that at the time of it, he went into intense therapy because he developed neurological networks in his brain that it became him. Yeah. We can do that with disease and we can do that with health. We can do that with anything. Yeah. So that is how powerful our mind is when we choose consciously to define the character, define who we're being and embodying it every single day, despite what the world is showing you, because it's going to adjust. I promise you, it will catch up.
Yeah. No, it's such a truth though. We have these 60,000 or so random thoughts in our heads running throughout the day, right? In a single day. And it's what is the majority of those. And for many people, it's a negative thing. It's a lot of times it's also because of our society. We have news on 24/7 cycle, social media, everything's coming at us. It's a bad world. Things are bad, You get into that. You're playing that over and over in your mind. And it's very nice to be able to say, well, change those to positive, start thinking that, normally we need tools. And that's where I want to get to, like with you, because I know you have this mind-body alignment method, right? And tools to get you there, because it's one thing to just say, stop it, think positive. And people are like, well, how? I need help, right? Because most of us, 60,000, like 59,000 of those are bad.
You're literally saying like, become a new person right now. And they're like, and how do I, right?
I know. And it feels overwhelming. It's like, I don't even know where to start. It's like, I've been having these thoughts for 20 years and I'm sick. And how do I think positive if I feel like crap?